Hello students. Now we are going to talk about economic geography. That is a part of SYBA, and I will start with the first topic, that is economic geography. We are going to cover the concept of economic geography, the nature of economic geography. We'll talk about the scope of economic geography, the concepts, and basically the different approaches which are there in economic geography. So first let's understand what actually geography means. Economics means, both put together, what does economic geography mean? Now geography is the systematic study of all spatial patterns of all phenomena on or near Earth's surface. We know by definition what geography is. It studies all the spatial patterns on the Earth's surface. Geography is the interaction between people and the environment. Coming to economics. When we talk about economics, what does economics in simple term mean? Economics is the study of how we can best increase a country's wealth with the resources that we have available to us. Now, when I talk about economics, we are talking about every country has resources in its area. I mean, within the country, there are certain resources. How optimum have they been used to increase the country's wealth, and how nicely are they available to us is economics. Economics basically is the study of how individuals and societies make decisions about ways to use scarce resources to fulfill wants and needs. Now, the study of economics basically is divided into two parts, micro and macroeconomics. This is just for knowledge purpose. Microeconomics is how do individuals make economic decisions. I as an individual, how do I take certain economic decisions? Macroeconomics is the larger picture, the bigger picture, that is growth, employment, choices made by large groups like countries. I come to economic geography now. We are going to start with lesson 1, economic geography. What is economic geography? Basically, economic geography looks at how people try to earn a living. It is about industry, jobs, and about wealth. It is usually divided into three parts: farming, primary activity, making things at a factory is a secondary activity, or looking after people, that is a tertiary activity. Now, here we'll throw some light on what is economic geography. Basically, it is the study of the spatial variation of human economic activities, which can be production, consumption, and exchange, international trade and commerce, population growth, settlements, development, all of that, and the interaction and interdependencies and regional supply and demand. All these terms are very, very common when we talk about economics. Economic geography, basically what happens, students, it focuses on describing and analyzing patterns and trends in human behavior and activity to gain understanding of the processes and drivers that shape and affect the economic and cultural landscapes. Now here basically economic geography is basically very central to economic development. As economies develop, the initial allocation of resources across locations rarely remain fixed. This means what new industries develop, and for technological or other reasons it find it profitable to situate in different locations. So they find it profitable when they locate in different locations than old industry. With this, what happens? There are new networks of transportation which emerge, which link far away markets within and across countries. So equally or even more important, if you see, the density of the economic activity changes with development. If you see economic geography, so basically what in short we are trying to understand, what I wanted to tell you all was, it is the study of the spatial variation of how of all the human economic activities with emphasis to the resources which are available. Before I go to the traditional approaches or the different approaches, let me explain to you all the different uh, definitions given by different professors, or you can say different geographers, economists, whatever, authors. According to Dudley Stamp, economic geography involves consideration of geographical and other factors which influence man's productivity, but only in limited depths, so far as they are connected with production and trade. According to E.V. Zimmerman, what does economic geography mean? It deals with the economic life of man with relation to environment. Now, basically, economic geography, what is it? It is the study of place, distribution, and spatial organization of economic actions across the world. Now, when I told you all this last sentence, there are certain concepts in economic geography which are very important. So, these three concepts which we need to, which are very important, we need to understand those very well. The concepts in economic geography are: space is important, place is important, and scale is important. Now, when I talk about space as a concept, the concept of space refers to the physical distance and area. The concept of space allows us to ask simple questions such as where a particular process is happening. Now, there are some interrelated elements of the concept of space which can be identified. That is the territorial form of a particular country, the location of a particular country, the trade flows between countries. What kind of trade is happening? How is the flow? The concept of uneven space as a necessary system of a capitalistic system. So this was the first concept in economic geography, that is space. Then we come to the second concept in economic geography, that is place. Now the concept of place aims to capture the specificity or uniqueness of a particular place. Now when I talk about place, students, places are carved out of spaces. Geographers here are able to explore the richness and complexity of a particular place only they are able to explore the richness, or they are able to explore the richness only of particular places and processes which are embedded through the spaces which are available in different shapes and sizes. Now, despite its importance for geographical research, the notion of place is somewhat vague. Why? Because it can take various shapes and sizes. There are different spaces in various shapes and sizes. So, the second concept in economic geography which is important is place. Place is coming out of space. The third concept in economic geography is the scale. Now, when we talk about the scale, it helps us. When I talk about the scale, this concept of scale helps us to organize places through a typology of spatial scales. Now, these scales can be of various forms. That way, it can be global scale, macro regional scale, national scale, regional, local scale, and lived places. So, these three concepts are there which are important in economic geography: space, place, and scale. So, when I talk about nature of economic geography, Now, when I talk about nature of economic geography, what does that talk to us, tell us? The nature of economic geography, according to Mackinder, he says the geography is a science, arts, and philosophy by nature. So it is subject discipline in the subject of geography. Economic geography is a science, arts, and philosophy. Now, how is it as a science? Economic geography is a science because it follows the scientific methods of the observation, collection of data, hypothesis, model building, open to the scientific scrutiny and the validity of such relationships. So it is a science by nature. Now, economic geography, it is an art also by nature. Why? Because it involves subjective approach in terms of the skillful organization of the field studies, collection of the data, map drawing, and the interpretation of the results. Third, as a nature of economic geography, it is a philosophy. Now, why is it a philosophy? Because we all know that human beings and environment have a relationship. So they have a relationship in economic terms also, students. So it tries to frame the postulations as to what, why, how, and where an economic activity takes place. So what we spoke about now was nature of the economic geography. That is, it is an art, science, or a philosophy. When we talk about the scope of economic geography, now when I talk about the scope of the economic geography is the main objective of economic geography is to discuss the activity of man with relation to environment. On the other hand, the natural environment, culture and resources are not same throughout the world because they are changing from time to time. So that way, if you see, economic geography is very vast, wherein in spatial and temporal terms. Now, what is the scope? I will just share a few points wherein we'll understand what is the scope of economic geography. Basically, none of the modern countries of the world are self-sufficient. We know that. Now, the civilized man depends a lot on the supplies of these faraway regions. This gives rise to commerce. So we can say that the function of economic geography is to study the manner in which, when we talk about commerce, we are talking about the manner in which trade and commerce are related to the earth on which they are transacted. Thus, economic geography also, if you see, it investigates the diversity in basic resources of the different parts of the world. It tries to evaluate the effects that differences of physical environment have upon the utilization. How these physical environment has an effect on the utilization of these resources. Now, in this study, what happens? The interdependence of production, emphasis, it's given upon the human initiative and the nature of the physical forces. Now, they are studied not in isolation but as a comprehensive system or the interaction between the man and the nature. Sorry. Coming to the approaches. Now, there are different approaches of economic geography. When I talk about different approaches, here economic geography has taken a variety of approaches to many different subject matters, and they are not limited to place of industries or transportation or international trade, ethnic economics or gendered economics. Here it goes into the long history of geographers studying the cultural environment interaction and globalization. So it is useful here to highlight the various intellectual traditions with which these approaches and concepts are used. Let's come to the traditional approach. These are the approaches which are common in geography and are frequently used in geography, economic geography. regional approach, commodity or topical approach, and principles approach. Now, regional approach. When I talk about the regional approach, the term region is very popular in geographical literature and it refers to suitable area. Example, a climatic region, a natural region, industrial region, agricultural region, administrative or political region. A region is having common geo-economic characteristics, a resource base, economic development, and to some extent similarities in culture and demographic structure. Therefore, several geographers have chosen this region approach in economic geography. Now, what is the advantage with this regional approach? It gives better knowledge of different parts of a unit, their relationship to each other, and the unit as a whole. So this is the first approach, that is the regional approach. Commodity or topical approach. Now this provides a systematic description and interpretation of the world distribution pattern of a commodity. Wheat or an industry, cotton textile industry, or a human occupation. What does it do in this approach, commodity approach? It analyzes the whole sequence of their development and catches them on their march to progression or retrogression. Now this is popular. This systematic economic geography, if we choose this affiliation, is the legitimate child of the very conception. Principles approach. In every sphere of human activities, certain fundamental truths or principles hold good. Indeed, they provide rock foundations upon which the varied and varying superstructures rest. Here what is happening is the principles, the fundamental principles are the crux in this approach. The concepts of economic geography are through and through permeated, coming out with the same spirit, whether we talk of regional economic geography or systematic economic geography, as I discussed both of them. Economic regions are based on certain fundamental principles, and similar is the case with the extraction of minerals, coals, iron ore or diamond, or the localization of industries, metal fabricating or textile industries, or the exchange of commodities. Then we come to the physical approaches. First I discussed about the traditional approaches. Now we come to the philosophic approaches. The 1990s research in economic geography may be characterized by three major philosophic approaches. They are positivism, structuralism, and humanism. Now, when I talk about structuralism, it is what in economic geography, structuralism posits that what we see in the world does not reveal the causes of what we see. The structure of the economy cannot be directly observed. Any structure, students, is not possible for us to observe in detail. We should therefore develop ideas and theories. Our ideas and theories help us understand what we see and experience. That's what it is saying in this structural approach. While there is no way to directly test theories, we can debate. It is a debate where we can actually talk about these or test these theories and achieve better understanding. Modern approaches. Now in economic geography, three approaches have been developed during last 3 decades that can be considered as modern approaches. What are those? There are system analysis, behavior approach, institutional approach. Now before that, I'll just tell you something about this neoclassical location theory, which is one of the approaches of economic geography. Now here, what was it? This flourished in the neoclassical location theory. It flourished in the 1950s and 60s and was primarily interested in establishing and explaining patterns in the distribution of economic activities across space. This type of economic geography was firmly anchored in the neoclassical economics theory. This period in the development of economic geography. Now, this theory, this neoclassical location theory, is often called as quantitative revolution, which provided foundations for regional science as regional approach, regional science, geographical economics, and spatial economics. Now, however, while developing this neoclassical theories, many economic geographers became dissatisfied with this approach and started exploring alternatives. Now, the interest in regional science and geographical economics has been revived very recently through the work of this economist called Paul Krugman and his new economic geography, NEG. So, this is something about the neoclassical location theory. System analysis. A system is a set of identified elements so related that together they form a complex whole. System analysis, what is it? It is an approach or methodology rather than a philosophy. Basically, system analysis is a method rather than a philosophy or scientific paradigm. Economic geographers, what do? They utilize the system concept in order to understand the component elements of some part of reality and the relationships between them. They try to understand the concepts and the elements and relation between them. The use of such a conception stresses, what does the system analysis stress upon? It stresses the study of the whole as well as of the parts. Means it is studied in both ways, whether it's as a whole or in parts. Thus, the world economy can be regarded as set of interlocking parts and subsystems. Next, we come to behavioral approach. Now, when I talk about behavioral approach, basically, it emerged in the late 1960s, and it is one of the reactions to the quantitative revolution. Now, when I spoke to you all about quantitative revolution, I spoke to you all about neoclassical location theory. It's the same. The neoclassical location theory and the quantitative revolution is the same. So this developed, it moved away from the neoclassical assumption of Homo economics and explored a wide range of factors, behavioral approach basically, and that influenced economic decision making. The problem with this approach, however, is that it fails to explore fully the relationship between individuals and society. Now here what is it saying? Incorporation of the behavioral science outlook in geography is known as behavioralism. In economic geography, behavioral approach now has become very common. Economic geographers study the overall results of economically oriented behavior as they appear in the landscape. In economic geography, the study of decision-making process is an important aspect. The type of decision making which is the concern of economic geography can be classified as problem solving or behavioral decision making, with such results as new locations for shops, farms or factories. Similarly, the studies of consumer behavior, movement or trip behavior are considered to be important. The decision making process and other aspects of behavioral analysis. Next is the institutional approach. Now, Ron Martin, 2003, has emphasized the need of institutional approach in economic geography. What did he state? He stated that the form and evolution of economic landscape cannot be fully understood. You cannot study a landscape economically without giving attention to the various social institutions So here social institutions play a very important role on which economic activity depends and through which it is shaped. In other words, institutional approach, economic activity is socially and institutionally situated and it cannot be explained by reference to atomistic individual motives alone, but has to be understood as enmeshed in wider structures of social, economic, and political rules, procedures, and conventions. It is the rule of these systems, both formal and informal, which is the focus of an institutional approach to economic geography. There are some more approaches also or theories which I would like to just tell you all. You all have to listen to it carefully to understand what we are saying. Now, apart from that, also the certain other approaches which I wanted to tell was post-structuralistic approach, that is the new economic geography. Since the mid-90s, a new type of economic geography has started to emerge from post-structuralistic ideas. The important contribution of the new economic geography is its insistence that economic process cannot be seen in isolation from social, cultural, and political contexts. The emphasis is on the notion of class has been replaced by the interest in categories. Which categories they are? Gender, race, age, religion, and culture. So here students, what I have spoken about is, we started with what is the meaning of economic geography. Economic geography, basically I ended how it is the study of place, distribution and spatial organization of economic actions across the world. Then we try to understand the concepts in economic geography. What are the concepts which are involved in economic geography? Space, place and scale. Next I covered was nature of economic geography. What I covered in nature of economic geography as a science, art and philosophy. I spoke to you all about the scope of economic geography. Then we ended it with the different kind of approaches of economic geography, where we studied traditional approaches, philosophical approaches, institutional approach, systematic approach, regional approach. I spoke to you all about the neoclassical location theory, the post-structuralistic approach or the structuralist approach, the behavior approach. In the next class, we'll be doing need and significance of economic geography, and we'll try to study the relation of economic geography with the social sciences. Thank you, class.